Normally we drive the normal tour is we drive about 1 hour and a half. We stop in the village of Tremezzo in Como Lake for breakfast, for a 30 minutes breakfast. And then we take a boat, a private boat, for a 45 minutes tour. And we arrive in Bellagio, which is a very nice village, exactly in the middle of the lake, that is reachable only by boat. And if it's windy, it can be a problem for the safety, and they stop the boat. So let's see, in 1 hour they are waiting me. And normally you have free time in Bellagio for lunch and for exploring the village, and then we go back by boat and by bus to the coast, and we go to Lugano, where we stay generally 1 hour and a half in the afternoon in southern Switzerland on Lugano Lake. There is another lake, very beautiful town, and then we go back here, we come back to Milan. This is the normal tour. So boat ride, and then free time in Bellagio, and then free time in Lugano in Switzerland. If they update me around 9:20, more or less, 9:15, even before, if they say me, sadly we cannot go with the boat because of the safety, it's not possible, we cannot reach Bellagio, we can stay a little bit more in the village of Tremezzo in Como Lake anyway. Then we go to Lugano. You will have extra time in Lugano with a guided tour by me if you want to join the tour, and I will guide you until the main highlights in Lugano, explaining all the highlights, and then of course you have more time also for lunch and for exploring the town in Lugano. So let's see, I hope everything can be done as normal. If not, we try to do our best to enjoy the day. And well, this is the most requested tour with the part from Milan. Como Lake is not so far, it's just from here is 1 hour more or less, but we stop in 1 hour and a half because we go more inside the territory of the lake. So now just 1 second to show you on the right hand side. This is the Monumental Cemetery. I don't know if it's the first time you visit Milan. This is one of the main highlights in the city center. We are already leaving the city center at our shoulders. This is the place where all the most important people of Milan are buried, in the middle, such as the family Campari, the main writers of Italy, such as Alessandro Manzoni. And another famous place we are going to drive through is the Quarter of City Life. It's the new district with all the skyscrapers. Well, if it's the first time you visit Milan, I suggest you the Duomo. Maybe you already visited the Cathedral of the Duomo, and the canals. That's a very nice area, especially for restaurants. Then when we come back this evening in Milano, I can tell you more about the area of the canals, because it's perfect for dinner. So then today we are going to take now a very famous street, that is the Autostrada dei Laghi, the Street of the Lakes, the first motorway built in Europe in 1920s, Rome, the capital, with about a little bit less than 3 million people. Now you see that the streets are quite empty, because I have to say that still some Milanese are on their summer holidays. This is the end of August, so now they are returning slowly. For us the tradition is that the 15th of August we have to go on the holiday. So that's Ferragosto, is an ancient Roman holiday, so we go normally on Ferragosto. So 2 weeks ago this street was totally empty, 40 degrees, totally another scenario. And now more people are repopulating the town, but not so much as in September. So I don't know how long you think to remain in Milan, but next week will be more trafficked than now. And Como Lake instead is in the same region, but more in the north. Today we don't go on the Alps, but on the Pre-Alps, but we will see the Alps too. So even if it's maybe a little bit foggy for the rain, we will see in the distance the line of the Alps. I think with a little snow on top, because when here is rainy, on top of the Alps is snowy. So yesterday was not so good, but 2 days ago the sky was clean and we could see all the snow on the top of the Alps. And so let's see today what kind of scenario we can see. It's not impossible that also can stop to rain in Como Lake, because it's quite unpredictable, so we hope for the better. And well, when we say Como is a thing, Como Lake is another thing, you know. Como is a city that we arrive now just in 30 minutes, more or less. And Como Lake is the territory owned by Como City Hall. So when we say Como Lake, Como is not the name of the lake. The real name is Lario, less romantic than Como. But we say Como Lake like to say lake that belongs to the city of Como. So the Como is the city, pretty close to Milan. Como Lake is all the lake around, and we need more time to drive through the lake. And another thing is, if you take a look to the map, you can see that the shape of Como Lake is something like a letter Y but reversed, an upside down letter Y. At the bottom of the left-hand branch, we have the city of Como. Exactly in the middle, where the lake splits in three branches, we have the village of Bellagio, where we should go today, I hope. And then at the end of the right-hand branch, we have Lecco. So this is the three main villages, the three main towns on the lake. Bellagio is a fishing village, but it's like a symbol of Como Lake, so that's why we want to visit it, because it's exactly in the center, very famous. So now let's see, I will tell you in a little if it's possible to go by boat. So now on the motorway, I let you relax a little bit. I know that it's early, but I want to show you the last two curiosities before taking the motorway. Now over there at the end we turn to the right and we enter the Autostrada dei Laghi, the motorway of the northern lakes, where Como Lake is the most famous one. You know that today we go to the most famous lake in Italy, which is also the second most famous cinema location. I will show you even by bus some of the most beautiful villas. In some of them has many movies have been played, such as Casino Royale, James Bond movie, Greta Garbo. Normally we take the boat anyway, even if you don't take with boat, we stop 1 second, you will see the Grand Hotel Tremezzo, where Greta Garbo played in Grand Hotel. That was the first famous movie in Como Lake. Star Wars, the episode Attack of Clones, so I will show you all these beautiful villas. And it's the deepest lake in Europe. It has this primato, this Guinness, the deepest lake in Europe, with 436 meters of depth. Is the deepest lake, and it's all close by the mountains. This is a particular charming thing, because normally the lakes in Italy have maximum some hills around. Como Lake is all close by this mountain rich of vegetation, so you will see it's very nice, very beautiful. So now we turn to the right. Along the motorway, let you relax, you will see just some fields of corn and factories, especially car factories. Many people are employed into car industry in Milan and outside of Milan. Especially you will see Alfa Romeo, Maserati, Mercedes, Peugeot, Fiat already here, but you will see especially on the motorway all these kind of factories. Milan. Recently the football player Messi bought an apartment here in these new apartments, millionaire euros apartments on the right. On the left, this is Casa Milan, AC Milan. We remain in topic of soccer because this is the museum of the Milan football team, the best team of Milan. We don't have other teams. But we have just one hill on the left. This is Monte Stella, that means mountain star. Stella was the name of the wife of the architect, and for us is a symbol, a very important place for Milano, because this is a public park, but is a hill, an artificial hill built on the ruins of the World War II. Milan has been very bombed. At the end of the war, they created this hill with the buildings destroyed, like to say we give a new life to the city. So for us, it's one of the most famous panoramic points also, totally free. People go up there and they can see all the panorama of Milan. In the distance on the left, you can see part of San Siro Stadium. Behind the white pavilion over there. If you look behind, there is in the distance the roof of San Siro. We can see better this evening when we come back, because we arrive from the other direction and we will see better. Of us behind those hills. So those are already the pre-Alps, the mountain before the Alps, and already the mountain closing Como Lake. Now let's see if it's visible. We have two tunnels over there. After the second tunnel, normally on the right hand side we can see the first view of Como Lake area. If it's not too foggy, I can show you it. Immediately after, on the left, I show you the first view of Switzerland. Actually, Switzerland is already at our left, very close. We are very close to the border. This is not the border where we will enter in Switzerland, but the border where we come back this evening. So we will enter from here back to Milan. So now, over there we pass the first tunnel. You will see often on the right hand side the sign of the deer. We have a little bit of wildlife around here, especially deer. There's the typical red fox of this valley, and a sort of wild rabbit. Often in the past was base of the local cuisine, today is not eaten anymore. And then the typical frog from this area. In particular, in the afternoon we are going to cross a valley where there is the little Lake Piano, which is the swamp where there is this kind of frog that actually is in extinction, but over there can still live very well. So now we pass the first tunnel. Over there, crossing the mountain here written Dogana. We are pretty close to the custom with Switzerland. Approaching the city of Como, that is already visible. Yes, it's not too foggy. So now I show you Como in 3, 2, 1. One more. And welcome to Como City. Now we go down there. This is the city of Como. It's not very touristy, but it's the biggest one on the lake with about 80-90,000 inhabitants. This is also the main pier. And a very curious, typical thing of Como. You see on the right hand side in the fog, on the top of the mountain there is a tower. The only tower over there, yes. This is called Faro Voltiano. Faro means lighthouse. It's a lighthouse on the top of the mountain. Why it's called Voltiano? Well, this is the place where there was the private house of Alessandro Volta. Alessandro Volta was voltage, the inventor of the battery. He was from here, not so far from Como. He lived here during the 18th century, and the Como locals are very proud about this thing. Now you will see when we enter in Como, it's written Città di Alessandro Volta. Everywhere you go, Alessandro Volta, Alessandro Volta. They're very proud about this fact. Alessandro Volta lived here during the 18th century. He was professor of physics. His story is very interesting because he grew up totally quite abandoned, was in a very poor family, and then slowly he started to study. He became a professor of physics, and he invented the prototype of the first battery ever. So Volta, voltage, Alessandro Volta. And well, if you go to Como, you find Gelateria Volta, Restaurant Volta, everything dedicated to light. We have Como. Now we will enter in Como, but after the next tunnel again. On the left, instead, I show you the first view of Switzerland of today. This is the city of Chiasso, that is Switzerland. This is a very curious thing. Here we are in Italy on this bridge, but if you put the arm outside, you are in Switzerland. This is the only case, really, this is the only case in Italy where the limit of the state is given by a bridge. It's not a wall, or it's the bridge. So here, the bridge is owned by the Italian state. Outside, that is Switzerland, the city of Chiasso. Chiasso city is in the same region of Lugano. Actually, Lugano is not so far. In the distance on the left, 30 minutes behind the hills, there is Lugano. In fact, you will see this evening, 30 minutes Lugano until here, and 1 hour from here to Milan, 1 hour and a half, 1 hour and 20 minutes. Well, this region is called the Ticino, and they speak Italian in southern Switzerland here. Switzerland is a small state, but is not very populated, but they speak until 4 languages, French, German, Romansh, the Swiss Alps. Lugano, this is the custom where we will enter back to Italy. Now instead we remain in Italy, like a loop, we turn to the right on this viaduct, very high, and we go down there to Como. Como Lake is all totally in Italian territory. Lugano Lake instead is a Swiss lake, but you will see the little part of the lake is in Italian territory. So in the afternoon, first we will meet the lake, and then we enter in thing. If you look at your left, especially after the next tunnel, you can see the kind of rock of these mountains. It's very, you can see here, but even after the next tunnel again, you can see they should excavate all So it's not easy to do that kind of work, not safe. So all the villages we will see are just at the bottom or maximum until the half of the mountains. So why this lake is so famous? First of all, in the past, this is the lake of the villas. During the, let's say between the 14th and the 18th century, many families of noblemen decided to build their own property on Como Lake, attracted by the beauty of the place. Then these dynasties ended. The last sons died, so when these families of noblemen abandoned their houses, these houses remained totally alone, no? Totally abandoned. So they have been totally restored by the Italian state, and in some cases they have been transformed into museums. That's the case. Cluny Villa is a big yellow house exactly in front of the lake. Now I show you in 3, 2, and 1. Now, thank you, Claudio, if you can stop 1 second. Okay, so where you see all the trees, this yellow house, this one with the high cypress, you can see from this point of view. This, no. Now you can see again after the yellow building, you can see the private pier and the part of the left hand side of the garden, and from here you can see the entire property until over there with the high cypress. Villa Oleandra. Well, this is it was a quick view, but you can see very well even the left hand side that normally is not visible from the boat. In the past we used to do this tour with public boats. Now finally we have the private one, and the public boat used to do Bellagio Como in the opposite direction, and the ferry could pass in front of the villa, but very far because 2 directions, double directions. This is the village of Argenio. Café Motta is the red cafe on the left in front of us with the red umbrellas. This is the cafe of the motorbikers. Yes, too rainy today, but we have just some scooters, not many motorbikes. On the left, after these buildings, you see now the ancient Roman bridge. To the left. In stone. As you can imagine, people living in the first of many stone sanctuaries, Catholic churches we will see today. Even in the center of Bellagio, there is a church like this, medieval, of the 14th century, dedicated to St. Jacob. Well, everywhere you go in Italy, even the smallest village or the biggest town always has in the middle the church. Absolutely. Well, since the past, the Catholic religion was the most celebrated in Italy because of the presence of the Vatican in Rome. Especially between the Middle Age and the 17th century, many churches have been built. Most of them dedicated to the Holy Mary, generally the cathedrals in Milano, in Como, in Tremezzo. But in particular in Como Lake, each place has their own saints, particularly celebrated. In Como Lake, there are many churches dedicated to St. Jacob and San Bartolome. St. Jacob, because an ancient local legend says he came here, he walked on the street. San Bartolome, because originally, traditionally, was the protector of the fishermen, the patron saint of the fishermen, let's say. So even in where we will stop in front of the church dedicated to San Bartolome. It's not a very big decorated church, but for the locals it's very important. It's a very place of the heart for many. They were in the northern part of the lake, in a village called Dongo, and a group of partisans captured them exactly while they were trying to enter in Switzerland. They drive down until here, to this village, and then they move up until the top of this mountain, in a part of the mountain called the Mezzegra Bonzanico. And they stopped in Casa de Maria. De Maria was the name of the family who gave the house to the partisans, and this is the place exactly where Mussolini has been killed. So This is a very important place historically. The locals still talk a lot about these stories because they are still very felt, even because someone is still alive. Then on the boat I will tell you this secret. Today for celebration, wedding, holy mass. This is the sanctuary with the fresco, medieval fresco, the sanctuary of Saint Jacob, of course. That is exactly this one with all the garden. This is one of the two houses up here, the house of Gucci. Then I show you again by boat, but here we are down there, we can see very, very well.